What if I told you that the very first thing you instinctively grab when you see a fire, water, could actually turn a small accident into a massive explosion? We grow up thinking water is the ultimate cure. You see a flame, you throw water on it. It's instinct. But in the world of professional safety, relying on instinct alone is exactly what gets good people hurt. Because fire isn't just one thing. Fire is a shapeshifter. And if you try to fight a grease fire on your stove, the same way you'd fight a campfire in the woods, it doesn't just fail. It creates a disaster that can change your life in a split second. Welcome back to HSE Study. Today we are going to slow things down. We are going to move past the textbook definitions and the boring compliance checklists. Instead, we are building your survival guide. We are going to look at the real science of fire, the specific classes you need to recognize the moment you walk into a room, and exactly which tool saves the day. We are doing this because understanding fire classes and knowing exactly how to use a fire extinguisher isn't just about passing an inspection. It is about the difference between a funny story you tell your friends later and a tragedy. Before we can fight the enemy, we have to understand its anatomy. For decades, safety training focused on something called the fire triangle. You have probably heard of it: heat, fuel, and oxygen. The idea was that if you take away one of these three things, the fire goes out. And that is true, but it is not the full picture. Modern science has added a fourth, invisible piece to this puzzle that most people forget. It is called the chemical chain reaction. Think of it as the engine that keeps the fire running. Without it, you just have hot wood or hot gas. With it, you have a self-sustaining force. That is why we don't even call it a triangle anymore. In the professional world, it is the fire tetrahedron. To kill a fire, you only have to break one leg of that structure. But here is the catch, and this is where it gets dangerous. Different fuels require you to break a different leg. If you attack the wrong leg with the wrong weapon, the fire fights back. That is why we break fires into 5 distinct classes. Let's walk through them, one by one. First, you have Class A. I want you to think of the letter A for ash. This is your standard, everyday fire. We are talking about wood, paper, trash cans, cloth, or cardboard boxes in a warehouse. It is what you see in a typical house fire or a campfire. For Class A, water is your best friend. You can also use an ABC dry chemical extinguisher, which is that standard red canister you see in most hallways. The strategy here is simple. You are attacking the heat side of the tetrahedron. You soak the fuel, the temperature drops below the ignition point, and the fire dies. It is straightforward, but don't underestimate it. A pile of cardboard can burn hot enough to flash over a room in minutes. Next, we have Class B. Think of the letter B for barrel or boil. Now the stakes are getting higher. We are talking about flammable liquids and gases: gasoline, oil, paint thinners, propane, or solvents in a workshop. Here is the one rule that matters more than anything else today. Water is the enemy. Here's the physics of why. Water is heavier than oil and gas. If you pour water on a burning liquid, it doesn't sit on top and cool it down. It sinks right to the bottom. But because that liquid is superheated, the water hits the bottom and instantly flashes into steam. When water turns to steam, it expands 1,700 times in volume. Instantly, that steam explosion launches the burning fuel into the air. So instead of putting out the fire, you have just splashed burning gasoline all over the room and all over yourself. Instead, you need to use foam or CO2. You need to smother it. You are attacking the oxygen side of the tetrahedron. You are putting a lid on the container to suffocate the flame. Then we have Class C. Think of the letter C for current. This is anything plugged in: a server room, a heavy electric motor, a breaker box, or even just a toaster in the break room. If there is electricity running to it, it is a Class C fire. The danger here isn't just the burn, it is the shock. We all know water conducts electricity. If you spray a stream of water or foam onto a live electrical panel, that electricity can travel straight back up the stream and into your body. You could be electrocuted before you even feel the heat of the fire. You need a non-conductive agent. Carbon dioxide, or CO2, is the gold standard here. It suffocates the flame, and best of all, it vanishes without leaving a residue. If you use a powder extinguisher in a server room, the fire might go out, but the chemical powder will destroy the computers. CO2 saves the equipment and saves you from the shock. Fourth, we have Class D. Think of the letter D for dense. These are rare, but they are terrifying. We are talking about combustible metals like magnesium, titanium, or sodium. You usually see these on factory floors, in machine shops, or even in car parts and laptop batteries. When metal burns, it doesn't just flicker. It glows with a blinding white light and burns at over 5,000 degrees. That is hot enough to split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, which essentially feeds the fire explosive fuel. Standard extinguishers won't even touch this. You need a specialized dry powder, usually yellow, that cakes over the metal to isolate it. If you see a bright white metal fire, do not throw water on it. Evacuate and call the professionals. Finally, we have Class K. Think of letter K for kitchen. This is specific to commercial deep fryers and animal fats. You might think, isn't that just a liquid? Isn't that Class B? Technically, yes, but cooking oils burn at much higher temperatures than gasoline. A standard extinguisher might put the flames out for a second, but the oil is so hot that it will just reignite the moment the oxygen comes back. You need a wet chemical agent. It causes a chemical reaction called saponification. That is a fancy word, but basically, the chemical mixes with the burning oil and turns it into a thick, soapy foam blanket. It cools the oil and seals it shut at the same time, preventing it from reigniting. So, you have identified the fire. You have grabbed the right extinguisher. Now the adrenaline is pumping. Your heart is racing. This is the moment where people freeze. They stare at the canister and forget how to use it. Don't panic. This is basic fire extinguisher training that every single worker should know on day one. Just remember the word P.A.S.S. P.A.S.S. P stands for pull. Pull the pin hard. It breaks the tamper seal. S stands for aim. This is the biggest mistake people make. They aim at the flames at the top of the fire. But fire is just gas. You can't kill a ghost. You need to aim at the base. Aim where the fuel is. S stands for squeeze. Squeeze the handle effectively. Don't be gentle. You need to release the agent. S stands for sweep. Sweep the nozzle from side to side, covering the base of the fire until the threat is gone. And here's a reality check that nobody tells you. A standard portable fire extinguisher lasts about 10 to 20 seconds. That is it. You do not have minutes, you have seconds. If the fire isn't out by the time the extinguisher is empty, or if the fire is taller than you, do not try to be a hero. Get out. Close the door behind you to slow the spread, trigger the alarm, and get to safety. Buildings can be replaced. Inventory can be replaced. You cannot be replaced. Fire is chemistry, not magic. When you respect the physics, you control the outcome. So do me a favor. Next time you walk through your site, or even when you walk through your own kitchen, look at the extinguishers, read the label. Ask yourself, if a fire started right now, would I have the right tool? Make sure you aren't relying on water to fight an electrical fire. If this guide helped you today, please subscribe to HSE Study. We are building a community of safety professionals who care about the details. Every single week, we break down complex safety topics in plain English, so you can walk into work smarter and walk out safe. Stay safe, stay compliant, and I will see you in the next one.